What if someone told you that the love you feel for your spouse, children, and in everything dear to you is not what you think it is? Thousands of years ago in the forests of ancient India, a profound conversation took place between the great sage Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi that would revolutionize our understanding of love, relationships, and the quest for immortality. This dialogue, preserved in Brihad Aranyak Upanishad, contains one of the most quoted and misunderstood teachings in all of Hindu philosophy. The husband is not dear for the sake of the husband, but for the sake of the self. Today, we will explore this extraordinary conversation that reveals the deepest truths about human nature and spiritual realization. Yajnavalkya, already renowned as the greatest philosopher of his time, has reached the pinnacle of worldly success. He has completed the first three stages of life: Brahmacharya as a student, Grihast as a householder, and Vanaprasth in retirement. Now, in his old age, he wishes to embrace the final stage, Sannyasa, or complete renunciation. But this is no ordinary renunciation. Yajnavalkya approaches what scholars call Vidvat Sannyasa, the renunciation of one who has already attained supreme knowledge. Unlike those who renounce the world to seek truth, Yajnavalkya renounces having already discovered everything. He has two wives, Katyayani, who is content with worldly life, and Maitreyi, described as a Brahmavadini, or the one devoted to the knowledge of Brahma. As he prepares to divide his worldly possessions between them, Maitreyi asks the question that will change everything. My lord, Maitreyi says, if indeed this whole earth filled with wealth were mine, would I become immortal thereby? This single question pierces through the heart of human existence. Here is a woman who could inherit great riches, yet she asks the most fundamental question any human being can ask. What is the point of wealth, possessions, or any worldly achievement if they cannot grant us immortality? Yajnavalkya's response is swift and clear. No. Your life would be just like that of people who have plenty of things, but there is no hope of immortality through wealth. And this exchange reveals something profound about Maitreyi's spiritual maturity. She represents the awakened seeker who refuses to be satisfied with temporary pleasures, but instead yearns for that which is eternal. Her question becomes the catalyst for one of the most extraordinary philosophical dialogues ever recorded. The heart of the teaching, love and the self. Delighted by her spiritual insight, Yajnavalkya begins his supreme teaching. It is not for the sake of the husband that the husband is dear, but it is for the sake of the self that the husband is dear. It is not for the sake of the wife that the wife is dear, but for the sake of the self that the wife is dear. At first glance, this seems shocking, even heartless. Is Yajnavalkya saying that love is selfish? That we don't truly love others? The answer is far more profound. What Yajnavalkya reveals is the deepest secret of human psychology. We can only love others because there is something within us that recognizes itself in them. That something is the Atman, the universal self that dwells in all beings. He continues, children are not loved for the sake of children, but for the sake of the self. Wealth is not loved for the sake of wealth, but for the sake of the self. Gods are not loved for the sake of gods, but for the sake of self. This teaching unveils the ultimate truth about love. It is the self seeking itself everywhere. When a mother loves a child, it is the universal consciousness recognizing itself. When we love beauty, truth, or goodness, it is the divine nature within us responding to its own reflection. This is not selfishness in the ordinary sense. It is the recognition of the deepest unity that underlies all apparent diversity. True love is not about possessing another person. It is about recognizing the same divine essence that animates both lover and the beloved. The nature of the self. But what is this self? That is the true object of all love. Now, Yajnavalkya explains that the Atman cannot be perceived through the ordinary senses. It cannot be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, or touched, because it is the very consciousness through which all perception takes place. Here, Yajnavalkya introduces his famous method of Neti Neti. Not this, not this. The self cannot be described positively because it transcends all categories of thought and experience. We can only say what it is not. But it's not the body, not the mind, not the emotions, not any object of experience. Yet, this self is not a void or emptiness. It is pure consciousness itself, the eternal witness that remains unchanged to all the changes of waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. It is immortal, indestructible, and beyond all suffering. The mystery of knowledge and consciousness. Maitreyi, demonstrating her philosophical acumen, raises a profound objection. If after death the self has no consciousness, how can it be desirable? Now, this question strikes at the heart of a fundamental paradox. If the self is pure consciousness, how can it be said to have no consciousness after death? Yajnavalkya's answer reveals the deepest mystery of existence. He explains that individual consciousness, the consciousness that knows, I am this body, I am this person, is like a reflection of the sun in water. When the water is distributed, the reflection disappears, but when the sun itself remains unchanged. Similarly, when the body-mind complex dies, the individual consciousness that was dependent on it ceases. But the universal consciousness, the true self, remains eternal and unchanged. It is not that consciousness is lost. Rather, the limitations that made it appear individual are dissolved. The practical teaching, meditation on unity. Yajnavalkya doesn't leave Maitreyi with abstract philosophy. He gives her a practical method for realization. Meditation on the unity of existence. Meditate on the earth and know the same self that is in the earth is in you. Meditate on the air and know that the same consciousness that moves the air moves in you. Everything is a manifestation of the one Atman. This is not mere intellectual understanding, but rather a practice of expanding identification. Instead of seeing ourselves as separate individuals in a world of separate objects, we learn to recognize the one self appearing as the many, the final renunciation. After imparting this supreme wisdom, Yajnavalkya takes his final step. Having revealed the ultimate truth to his beloved wife, he departed from the world, entering that mysterious state beyond all ordinary understanding. What happens to such a being? According to the Upanishads, one who has realized the self completely doesn't go anywhere upon death, because the self is already everywhere. Like a drop of water merging with the ocean, there is no distance to travel, only a dissolution of all the artificial boundaries that seem to separate the individual from the infinite. The dialogue between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi isn't just ancient philosophy. It's a roadmap for modern seekers. In a world obsessed with accumulating wealth, status, and possessions, Maitreyi's question remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. What value do things have if they cannot grant us true fulfillment? And thus, Yajnavalkya's answer points us towards the only source of lasting happiness, the recognition of our true nature as the eternal, infinite self, that is, the ground of all existence. When we truly understand that the love we feel for others is a self loving itself, we discover the secret of unconditional love, compassion, and ultimate freedom. This is the immortality that no wealth can buy. The deathless awareness that we have always been and always will be. In recognizing this truth, we don't lose our capacity to love. We rather discover love's infinite source. We don't become indifferent to the world. We rather see the divine presence in everything. This is a supreme teaching that transforms seekers into sages and makes the mortal aware of their immortal nature. If you love the contents of my channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. For the time being, thank you.